This is urgent. When the internet happened and people were saying, oh, I don't know if I'm going to even play with that thing, all of this is scary. But the truth is, it doesn't matter because it's here. Hey everybody, it's Kathy Byrnes here with Real Estate Riches, and I have my guest today, Katie Morrison. Really excited to have you from Montana. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here.
I can't tell you, as soon as I saw Montana, I said, oh, this is going to be good. And then I saw you do high-end luxury properties. So yeah, we need to talk because there's so many cool properties in Montana. But anyway, so let me give you a little bit about Katie, and then we're going to have her tell her story. So Katie is a luxury collection specialist with Berkshire Hathaway. She began her career in Yellowstone Club, which is really interesting. I didn't know there was a club. We'll come back to that. And where she contributed to more than 1 billion in sales. Oh my gosh. After serving as executive director of Big Sky Community Corporation, she returned to real estate in 2013, focusing on private club, resort, and residential properties. Katie was the top agent at her brokerage in 23 and 24. Awesome. Thanks so much, Katie. I mean, I was excited when I read all that about you. I did a little background and I'm like, can't wait to have her on here.
Thanks. Well,
So,
yeah, so I'm originally from Montana, which nobody basically is. There's less than a million people in Montana, or at least when I was born.
wow.
And I moved away and then came back and I moved to Big Sky. I was only going to be here for a year as a ski bum and then fell in love with it and then also got a job at the Yellowstone Club in sales. And honestly, I started off just as an admin. And Yellowstone Club is a private ski and golf residence community.
Huh.
And back then, you actually had to have a net worth of $3 million to be able to join. That's actually gone up. But overall, like it was a crazy way. Like I literally got my start in real estate in high-end luxury, which isn't like where I grew up or how I came to, into it at all. But because I spent so much time, I was the admin and then I was the marketing assistant and then I was a sales assistant. And so I actually got to learn it from so many different people who really were very experienced.
Mhm.
And I just had amazing mentors. And honestly, it was so much fun. I was out guiding clients out skiing and then, just skiing them into a property to see if they wanted to buy it. So I had a really fun introduction to real estate.
Wow, that's amazing. Out here, I'm on a lake, so I'm not personally on a lake, but a lot of agents will show properties by boat, which is a
Yeah.
great way to do it, but skiing right in because that's the life, right? Out
Yeah.
there. That's awesome. I had never heard of it. I was back in Yellowstone back in 1972, and it was closed for the season. It was must have been September or something, I think it was. Does it close in the winter? Like
Yeah, so
parts of
Yellowstone
the
National
park.
Park actually closes for kind of a month in the off seasons. And then where I live in Big Sky, like our ski resorts close down and then we have a summer season as well. But, kind of the fall and spring when when there's too much snow to do very much and not enough snow to ski yet, that's when everything closes. And so the Yellowstone Club was just kind of playing off of the Yellowstone Park name. We're about a 45-minute to an hour drive from Yellowstone
Oh,
Park in Big Sky. But and yeah, it's more of like the mountains and being ski resorts here.
oh, okay. That's what was confusing to me. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, boy, I never knew there was a club inside Yellowstone.
No.
Uh, that makes sense. That makes sense. So now you know how to do luxury real estate, and there's luxury, and especially lately, it feels like the pricing in Montana. I'm in North Carolina, but I've been out there, and friends of mine have bought out there. The prices, especially since COVID, have just rocketed, haven't they?
They really have. Like we saw a gigantic increase, obviously after COVID 2020, 2021. And then it really mellowed out. We've seen it's not like things dropped, but it was sort of like everything just went whoof and just
Uh,
kind of, just chilled out a little bit. And it's just been very flat for the past 3 years. But
hmm,
it's not like things fell like they did in 2008. And,
yeah.
in Big Sky, our average home price is about $3 million. And
Mm.
so prices still have stayed high for sure, and being in a luxury resort community. And with our private clubs, those are seeing prices that are more of an average around 8 million.
Oh,
So
wow.
And so it's really, kind of a high-end market where obviously people still have money if they want to spend it to be able to come out here. But it's been interesting because at the same time, even though we're certainly not interest rate sensitive, I would say that, when people were so excited to get second homes during COVID, and a lot of them were borrowing just because at 3%, why wouldn't you?
Right?
So, so now we've just seen a very limited inventory that I think is really what has held back our sales most.
Sure.
Even with that, like it is the high end and we still are seeing a lot of traction, especially in the past 2 months that actually we've seen another bump.
Interesting. So I do outgoing global referrals to other countries.
Oh,
So,
what?
and the ultra high net worth client is not just getting a second home, they're getting third and fourth homes. And so they'll do it like, if they're in the States, let's have a mountain home. And now they say, let's have something outside. Let's go to Portugal. Let's go to Dubai. And so I help clients with that perspective to connect them with key people that I know in these different countries. But what I'm seeing is there is a surgence of the ultra high net worth client that they are buying for different reasons. Some of it's political, some of it's tax strategies, some of it's just like, I've got the money, let's go have a third house,
Right.
and and that market is a whole different market than your typical market, wouldn't you say?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that is like, yeah, it's interesting when I always am watching, like, I love stats. So I'm always watching what's happening on the national level. And it doesn't typically reflect what is happening in Big Sky.
Yeah.
But there's a piece of it because, all of my clients are also reading the news and trying to figure out, like, well, what's happening in the market. And if prices have crashed everywhere else, they probably should in Big Sky. Can we get something at a great deal? And it's like, nope.
Nope. Still in
People still
demand.
really want to be here. Yeah.
So you kind of lucked into becoming a luxury agent just because of situations, because you started at the bottom. But
Right.
for the luxury agents that are out there that are also feeling the pinch, what are some tips that you have found that have been successful in your business when you have low inventory because the interest rates that these people have, like me too, I'm 2.75. I'm keeping it.
Yeah. Well, something that I have found is that people have a lot of equity right now. And
Yes.
so it's being able to, figure out how to capitalize on that. And one of the ways that I've really, been talking to people about a lot recently is doing 1031s, is
Mm,
because even though our inventory is pretty limited, like if I know that I have a buyer for something, we're such a small market that I can make 10 phone calls to all the other agents I know and just say, hey, I have a buyer. They want ski in, ski out, $7 million. Like, what do you have? And, if they're selling something, like, I can probably find something in that type of a scenario because
hmm.
there's somebody else on the other end that isn't going to list their property. But if I'm like, I have a buyer, then they'll be
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll go find something.
Yeah.
And it causes the dominoes to fall. And
Yeah.
so I guess like of that, one of my best things is just really having great relationships with other agents, like not even just in my office, but within my community, because we're able to find deals that wouldn't exist otherwise.
Boy, that's unique too, because normally cross companies don't work as well together. But what I'm hearing is collaboration in your community, regardless of your company.
Yep, that absolutely happens. I think that's a benefit of being in a small town for sure,
Hmm. Hmm.
But even like if people are in larger communities, whether it's in your own brokerage or even just getting to know other agents, I just think that we spend a lot of time, obviously, it's a relationship industry, but having good relationships with the agents on the other end, first of all, I feel like I learn from a lot of the other agents.
Yes.
I think that's an amazing way. And honestly, like we're all in a really unique industry. And so I
Yeah.
become friends with them too because we have a lot of similarities. We have a lot of things that do go on together. And for me, like in something that really matters to me is community building. And I know a lot of other agents in my community really care about that as well, and that we're in a unique position to help that, through philanthropy and through other, methods just because we have so many contacts in our network. So
Mm.
I feel like my real estate community and developing relationships with other agents has been really a huge part of my success.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, I just think that's smart business. I'm with EXP, and community and collaboration is core within this company. I had not experienced that with other companies before. Matter of fact, when I was telling you I first started, I started with Coldwell Banker. I ended up going to Remax. I was with Remax for about 7 years, and then I went to a smaller boutique that was still a franchise, and then I went to KW for a bit. And through all those paths, I'm a collaborator. So I'm like, let me just share what I got. I know this about tech. You know this about real estate. Could you just teach me? No one wanted to really share. So I, but I still share, just like this. For me, I think we should all lift each other up. Let's
Right.
help each other, especially in today's world with AI and how it's changing our industry. A lot of agents haven't decided that they need to dive in past just writing a property description. I think that's to their detriment. And that's one of the things I really push for to help. Tell me what you're doing with AI in your business.
Oh my God, I love AI. I totally do. Really helped me. So I use ChatGPT all the time. My ChatGPT's name is Alex. And
Love that.
um, and and one of my favorite things to do is like I said, I love stats. And so I'll pull together a bunch of spreadsheets and a bunch of stats happening in the market. And before I send out my monthly newsletter about, what's happening in the market, I will, go back and forth and, get help analyzing it, which
Yes.
sometimes it'll just like be this spark of ideas that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly it. Or sometimes I'll say, this is the trend I'm seeing. What do you think? And how is this,
Yeah.
happen? National trends. And so anyway, it makes the conversation more interesting, I think, and I think it's really helping me that way.
Oh,
I
sure.
also love it for, I do Zillow Showcase and even just like the AI application of it where, you can do virtual staging just like right
Oh,
on
yeah.
Showcase. And I mean, I think that is so helpful because, what pretty much everything in Big Sky sells furnished, but once you do the virtual staging, maybe, someone doesn't like the classic mountain look. They want something more modern. Well, in like
Yeah.
2 seconds that they're able to take a look at it and change it to whatever they feel. So
Yeah.
I love that. And then my other favorite one is NotebookLM, which is part of the Google Suite, but I will upload, whether it's county regulations or zoning or covenants, and I'll just ask it questions, how many, can you have horses? Can you have dogs? Like
Yeah.
whatever it is, like whatever question that you're asking, instead of sorting through 80 pages and maybe
Right.
missing, you can actually just dive right in and find it. And so it's made my workload actually just so much more efficient.
Yes. I love that aspect of it. Have you used Gemini much?
I'm starting to use Gemini, and I'll just be honest that I was like, I'm so attached to ChatGPT that I haven't been exploring as much. But I also have heard that like the Google side of it, the Nano Banana, using that for imagery, I'm just starting to explore that because that seems to be an amazing application of AI as well.
It is. Well, one of the cool things that I love about Gemini is that it incorporates your Gmail, your Google Calendar, your Google Drive. You could go into chat, you could go into Gemini and say, "Hey, I'm looking for an email that got sent to me, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. This is the person's name. Will you find it for me?" Boom, there. Or I've got something in my Google Drive. You know that I'm very disorganized in my drive as far as putting it in there. Find me this file. I don't even know the name of it, but here's the concept. Boom, finds me that file. So from that perspective of the harmony of it, it's wonderful. And that's even on the free version. Now the paid for is $20, just like Chat. It looks identical to Chat, really. And I go back and forth because sometimes I have issues with Chat because it's just not getting me. And I'm getting mad at it for fighting. I said, I'm done with you today. I'm going to Gemini, and because I've trained it to know my style, by doing the
Right.
custom GPT, and I create GPTs. I love all those things. And but Gemini with that Nano Banana, that caught my eye right off the bat. However, right now, and I'm sure this will change, it only does one size to it. So I needed it for LinkedIn, and it wouldn't do a LinkedIn, even though I gave it the dimensions. I'm using Mid-Journey for that, which is amazing. And I didn't know it could do so many cool things, but I could get lost on all the AI products that I play with.
I
But
love it. Well,
but
and I
that's
feel like, oh, go ahead.
I think that's an important piece. Just like you're saying, you're doing your newsletter, you're doing your reporting, you're doing all these different things, and you're using that to gather data that's accurate data, often where you're uploading information into it so it has the source instead of
Mhm.
it hallucinating that term that where they're grabbing it from wherever, you're giving it the source, which is important. And so as an agent, we're also marketing. We are have to market that we are knowledgeable. And this is what changes the game for us, don't you think?
Oh, I totally think so. I think that AI, the way that it's kind of revolutionizing our industry is that it's like, how do you use it as a tool and how do you effectively use it as a tool? Because the relationship side of real estate is really where we need to focus our time. And so
Right.
if AI can help us with all these other things that are just like taking up our time, then this is just a way more efficient way to utilize it. And even like you were saying with the images, like I cannot believe how fast AI is moving. I bet that in 3 weeks that thing will change and that you'll be able to do whatever
I
you
do
need
too.
for sizes. Like it's going so fast.
So
Yeah.
fast. And that's the urgency that I'm trying to help realtors understand. This is urgent. This is not like even when the internet happened. When the internet happened and people were saying, oh, I don't know if I'm going to even play with that thing. All of this is scary. It doesn't matter because it's here. I'm going to let somebody else deal with that and then tell me how to protect myself. But the truth is, it's here. And there's so many wonderful things that it can do right now. Also, your reputation of being the knowledge person
Mhm.
because you understand it now. When you did all that zoning information where you put into NotebookLM and now you did your report, they're gonna look at the other agents that are not doing what you're doing, and they're gonna say, well, I trust Katie. She seems to know more what's going on. And that's important too, which raises your confidence. So when you're on those listing appointments and your confidence is rock solid, you win it based on confidence as well.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I think that there's so much to be said for that because you can actually distill the knowledge you need to know in such a quick amount of time, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it is, like you said, it's spending the time because we all do need to jump into it, you know, it's not like this is going away. So,
And efficiency is really a key point. I had a prompt, I've got it, I give away at classes that I teach, and it is about creating a 30-day social media marketing plan based on different components that I would have pulled out, let's say, from what's happening in the marketplace, prices that are going, how long things are sitting in there. But I can create content based on that. And some of it can be posts with pictures of me, some of it can be videos, but you can even get the scripts for the videos, all of that. The prompt can help you because once you create these GPTs, which are a series of prompts into one platform within like ChatGPT, and they're called GPTs, and they're really there's a lot of them that are free. But I took a class on how to create them. And when you can start to do a whole 30-day marketing plan ahead of time, maybe you give it to your VA. I have a VA, and I say, okay, here's everything. I've recorded the videos, I've recorded the scripts, blah, blah, blah. Here's all the guts. Now you go put it out there, go do that.
yeah.
And it's powerful.
It is. Well, I think you bring up a really interesting point too of like doing your own GPTs and personalization because that's it. If you're just starting from scratch every time, it's not going to be nearly as efficient. But
Mhm.
if you're like, I know that I'm going to do more than one listing description, get yourself to the halfway point at least, you know,
Right.
like here's my voice, here's the tone, here's the type, you know, make sure it has all the fair housing things in it. Like
Yes.
just prompt it and get the prompts all built in. And then I love it that you can actually do so much personalization because otherwise, like ChatGPT's default is basically to be rah, 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 you're doing great. And actually, I want something a bit more critical. So go in and select a different personalization. Like
Yes.
there's just so many ways that I think it's underutilized just because it's not understood yet. But I
Yep.
think, you know, a day of like just sit down and figure that out is going to save you like so many, like not even hours, just days in the
Days
future.
and days.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I did, it's got a task feature, right? So I set up a task and I said, all right, every single day, I want you to tell me any update. I said, I have the plus feature, that's the $20, I think. I said, I have the plus thing of ChatGPT. I said, every day on this platform, I want you to tell me any updates that have happened today. And then I want you to explain it how it could be utilized in my business as if I'm a fifth grader. Show me the steps of whatever you just created that's new on the platform and send it to me as an email. And it goes, I can't send you an email, Kathy. I said, yes, you can. Double check. And
I'm
so
like, oh, I know I get tasks on emails. Yeah.
and it does. It goes, oh, you're right, Kathy. And I go, see. And so anyway, I get that every morning. And then it started picking up news media. And I said, hey, you're repeating yourself. No, I only want it coming from you. You're the source. You're the platform. And if there's no updates, then just say no updates, Kathy. I said, give it to me every day at 6 a.m. I'm up. So I want to see that to get my day started to know if I got to learn that, then I'm ahead of it. Well, and that was the first task. So as soon as I learned about tasks, I created that one. So I've got that in there. And then when the GPTs came out, and then they would teach you how it had over on the right hand side that you could create your own. I'm like, wow. But at first you don't really know what you're doing. I chose to take a class. I think I paid $10 because this guy, Jonathan Mast, who's on Facebook, is incredible. He has a Facebook group called AI Prompts for Entrepreneurs, and you can incorporate them into everything as a realtor. And so I took a couple of his courses and I got free GPTs that he gave me that were well structured. And then he taught us how to create them. And so I started creating different ones, like you said, for things that were repeats, like a LinkedIn post that I do consistently. I do the articles, I need the post, I want it then to go to Instagram, I want all the hashtags. I wanted it to know all the levels of what I was going to do with this particular article, and so that I didn't have to repeat it. And then I would be inputting the information, and then it would draft the article for me, do the summary post, have me the hashtags, call to action, all SEO. And this was all created in a GPT. So all I have to do is just say, are you ready? Here's today's topic. And here's the information that I'm going to upload. I want you to refine it. Boom. So now I've got a LinkedIn article, the LinkedIn post, an Instagram, which goes to Facebook, and it's all done. And it's done beautifully. And it's
Well,
just,
think about how long that would have taken you to do if you were to do, like, it just wouldn't have gotten done, is because
no,
you have other things you have to do.
and we need to be in front of people today. That's the marketing side of our business. Authoritatively ahead of, in front of people, not just garbage people dancing in houses. That's nonsense stuff, right? No, so you really have to have content that, especially in a high net worth platform, they're looking for you to know what the heck you're talking about. Even if it's a $200,000 house, they're looking to you to guide them. If it's a first time homeowner, whatever your niche is, you need to be the expert in that. And I'm telling you, AI will get you through the minutia part to really be the rock star.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, love
Absolutely.
it. So, any tips, other tips for us, Katie, that you can feel for our peeps out there?
As we were talking about kind of like, I know we were talking a little earlier on like how to talk to people. Everyone wants to try to get into the luxury market and,
Oh, yeah.
how to do that. So obviously I started off in it, but I think that that in itself is kind of a lesson. My first sale was $3 million. So you don't need, so it is more a matter of, but I couldn't have sold a $200,000 property then because I didn't know anything about them. And
Ah,
so it's what you know. So spend time learning and authentically, it has to authentically be something that you're into. And
yes,
so I feel like that's it is to, it's just a matter, it's not a matter of trying to be somebody that you're not or trying to go and, try and like win a listing that you don't feel qualified to do. You can do anything. The sky's the limit, but it's a matter of get comfortable and be authentic in what it is that you're going to do.
I love that. I totally agree. I was telling you that I started this at 56. I knew one person, and I'm from Michigan. So Michigan's a thousand lakes. That's what we're known for. So I grew up all around water. I'm in a lake area where I'm at right now, which is north of Charlotte called Lake Norman. And I thought, well, I'm going to be a waterfront specialist. That's going to be my focus. So the first agenda that I had was to figure out how I was going to rent a little cottage on the lake in proximity to the other cottages and houses because there were more cottages than there were high income properties at that point in time because it's a man-made lake. And so I said, so that was my first mission. That took me 3 years. But in the interim, I decided I was going to figure out who had all these homes. And it wasn't like I could just go get a list somewhere. I had literally had to go into the tax records, pull out I would get a street and then I would find the people's houses and their names on the street. I would see if they had it mailed, the tax bill mailed to them at that address or to another address. So I could see who were the second homeowners, which
Oh,
was
wow.
so
Wow,
ahead of I
whatever.
didn't know that I was going to be setting myself up for success, but I
Right.
was because in 2007 and 8, when things were going crazy, that's when people started to get rid of those second homes. And I was already becoming very knowledgeable and had created a list of the second home waterfront homeowners. And so that became my niche. And when I finally got to live on the water, that helped me be in proximity. But in the meantime, I was studying all the rules of the lake because they're a man-made lake's very different than a natural lake, but no matter which lake, there's lots of rules. So I decided to just dive in. And when you're new, especially you're going after something, become the specialist, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And like you said, it was like it was authentic for who you were because, you were like you loved being on lakes anyway. I loved skiing. So like
Mhm.
it was so whatever it is that like, but there's
Yes.
always going to be something, whatever you're passionate about, there will be a market for it.
Yes, yes. And
Yeah.
it served me well because I'm known all around the lake as someone who Kathy knows the lake, she knows the docks, she knows the setbacks, all that stuff. And I wish I would have had AI then where I could have dug in deeper faster. And
Right.
that's what someone could do right now still in this area because there aren't a whole lot that have paid attention to that. And you can get in trouble if you don't know your stuff,
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
right?
Yes.
Well, Katie, this has been great. I really appreciate you being on here. And if I'm back in Big Sky, Montana, I will look you up,
Oh,
girl.
you have to for sure. I'll take you skiing.
I'm a Bunny Hill kind of gal, but thanks. Thanks so
Oh,
much. I appreciate you being on here.
oh, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, and that's a wrap for us. I hope that if you're an agent out there looking to level up, reach out to me. Let's have a chat, see if I can't help you. And in the meantime, I hope you check out the next one that's playing or some of the older ones. Let's book a strategy call and let's have a talk. No pressure, but man, it's worth a conversation. The link's in the description.